Quitting is a public admission of failure. Every instinct you have screams that finishing what you started is a mark of character, of integrity. Both of those statements feel true, and both of them are used by smart, successful people to justify their choices. The tension between them is quietly ruining millions of careers. It might be ruining yours. Where do you stand? By the end of this, you might see the virtue you admire as the very cage you live inside. The argument for perseverance is powerful because it feels like a fundamental virtue. It's the story of the entrepreneur who works for years in a garage before their company takes off. It's the medical student enduring brutal residency hours, fueled by the vision of one day saving lives. Society celebrates finishers. We give trophies to people who cross the finish line, regardless of their time. We are taught from childhood that winners never quit and quitters never win. This belief is woven into our identity. To abandon a path is to admit you were wrong, that your judgment was flawed. It feels like a personal failing, a stain on your record. This drive for consistency is deeply human. Psychologists call it commitment bias. The more time, energy, and resources we pour into something, the more dedicated we become to seeing it through. Every late night at the office, every dollar of tuition, every personal sacrifice becomes another brick in a wall that surrounds us. To walk away means that sacrifice was for nothing. That's a psychologically devastating thought. The mind will invent any number of reasons to justify staying the course, to protect itself from the immense pain of a self-inflicted loss. It sounds like strength. It feels like honor. But this exact same logic can be a weapon you turn on yourself. That powerful sense of commitment has a dark reflection. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. The term comes from economics, and the logic is brutally simple. A sunk cost is any cost that has already been paid and cannot be recovered. Your past investments of time, money, and emotion are gone. They are historical artifacts. They have zero bearing on the future. The only rational question to ask in any decision is, from this moment forward, what is the best path to get what I want? The past is irrelevant. Your brain, however, violently disagrees. It screams that the past is the only thing that matters. Consider the most famous example in history, the Concorde supersonic jet. By the early 1970s, the British and French governments knew the project was a financial black hole. Projections showed it would never be profitable. The rational move was to cancel it immediately and cut their losses. They had already spent billions. It was an astronomical sum, and so they spent billions more. Their justification: we've already invested so much money in this project. They were honoring the money they had already lost. They were throwing good money after bad, chained to a decision made years earlier. The project was completed. It flew for 27 years, a magnificent, beautiful, money-losing machine. It never once turned a profit. Its entire operational life was a monument to the sunk cost fallacy. That sounds like a mistake only a government could make, but you see it every day. You see it in the law student who is $80,000 in debt and 2 years into a degree they have come to despise. The thought of quitting is unbearable. What would that say about them? What about all that money, that wasted time? So they take out more loans. They finish the degree, they pass the bar exam. They accept a job at a firm that makes them miserable, working 60 hours a week to pay off the debt they incurred for a career they never wanted. They traded a temporary, painful admission of a mistake for 40 years of quiet desperation. They honored the $80,000 they had already spent and paid for it with the rest of their life. The math is insane. And it is everywhere. Why are we so susceptible to this? It comes down to a few powerful glitches in our mental hardware. The first is loss aversion, a concept proven by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. The pain of a loss is psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of an equivalent gain. Quitting a career path crystallizes the loss. All the time and money you invested is now officially wasted. The pain of that is sharp, immediate, and certain. The potential benefit of a new path is uncertain, abstract, and far in the future. Your brain is wired to avoid the certain, immediate pain at all costs, even if it means accepting a much larger, chronic pain over the long term. Then there's effort justification. The harder you work for something, the more you value it. This is a cognitive dissonance trick. Your brain plays on itself. If you poured your soul into a project, your brain can't easily accept that the project was a bad idea. So, it inflates the project's value to justify the effort. It must be worthwhile, you tell yourself. Look how much I've sacrificed for it. The sacrifice itself becomes the reason to continue sacrificing. It's a terrifying feedback loop. Each new investment of effort doesn't just add to the pile of sunk costs, it strengthens your emotional commitment to the flawed path. You're digging your own trap deeper, one shovelful of effort at a time. That sounds convincing on paper. Just be rational, ignore the past, make the optimal forward-looking decision. And yet, this is where the simple economic model breaks down against the messy reality of being human. The sunk cost is more than just time or money. The biggest sunk cost is your identity. When you spend 10 years working as a graphic designer, you are a graphic designer. It's how you introduce yourself. It's how your family sees you. It's the story you tell yourself about yourself. To quit that career is to experience a kind of identity death. Who are you if you are not that? This void is terrifying. It's easier to cling to a miserable certainty than to leap into an unknown future where you have to build a new self from scratch. We fear the judgment of others, but you were so good at it. What a waste of your talent. I thought you were a fighter. These anticipated phrases from friends and family are often the chains that keep people in place. You're managing their expectations, their image of you, at the expense of your own happiness. The social cost of quitting often feels higher than the personal cost of staying. That's a calculation that will bankrupt your soul. So, where is the line? How do you distinguish between heroic grit and the suicidal logic of the sunk cost fallacy? They can look identical from the outside. Both involve pushing through difficulty. Both require sacrifice. But they are fundamentally different. Grit is persevering through a temporary downturn toward a destination you still genuinely desire. The prize is still worth the pain. Sunk cost thinking is persevering because you can't bear to abandon the path, even when you know deep down the destination is somewhere you no longer want to be. The difference lies in the answer to one brutal question. Imagine your current career situation disappeared overnight. The job is gone, the degree is erased, the project is deleted. You have your current knowledge, your current skills, and your current savings. You are standing at a fresh starting line. Knowing everything you know now about the reality of this path, about what it asks of you and what it gives you in return, would you choose it again, from scratch? If the answer is a resounding yes, then you are likely exercising grit. The struggle is a necessary part of a journey you still believe in. But if your answer is no, or even a hesitant, I don't know, you are almost certainly in the grip of the sunk cost fallacy. You are staying the course to justify your past at the expense of your future. The too far to turn back now feeling is the single most reliable sign that you are walking deeper into a trap. Quitting feels like a loss, but what you're actually doing is purchasing your future. The price is the ego bruise of admitting you made a mistake. The prize is every single day for the rest of your life to be spent on something better. It is the most profitable trade you will ever make, so you are left with two conflicting forces. One is the powerful identity-shaping narrative of perseverance, of seeing things through, of being the person who finishes what they start. It feels like virtue. The other is the cold hard logic of sunk costs, which shows that honoring the past can be a surefire way to poison your future, chaining you to a mistake with every ounce of your being. One path promises integrity, the other promises freedom. Take a hard look at your career, at that project you're killing yourself over, at that path you've been on for years, the one you defend to others but question in the quiet of your own mind, the one that feels too late to leave. What is the true cost of continuing for one more month, for one more year, and what exactly are you buying with that payment?